This is hands down the sexiest BMW S1000Rr I have ever built. So today we're going to do a bit of a walk around and have a look at everything that I think makes this bike probably, in my opinion, the sexiest S1000Rr currently out there. So let's first start with the styling. Now, I could have gone full race or I could have gone full street with this bike, but considering the package that I got came with just so much carbon fiber. It already had the carbon fiber inlays, it had the carbon fiber belly pan and a few of these other little accents, including a carbon fiber nose just here and a carbon fiber tail. I thought to myself, why not build an ode to carbon fiber and really just polish the whole thing up with as much carbon fiber as possible. So I have gone full layover with carbon on this bike, and I thought this looked better than a race fairing because let's face it, whoever buys this bike, if I sell it, is going to be a track addict. They're probably not going to be a racer. So what we've done is everything I could think of. It's already got the carbon fiber M wheels. We then went with a carbon fiber front guard. We've got the wings from RPM Carbon. We fixed up all of the carbon belly pan, the Ullenberger carbon belly pan. We put some carbon frame covers on there as well. We fixed up the side covers here, the Ullenberger carbon tank covers. We put the carbon hugger on, the carbon swing arm guards, and a fair bit. So this bike, I think, considering we've gone for a really, I'll call it a basic color choice. I want it to be subtle, I want it to be sexy. I didn't want it to be over the top, looking like Top Rack's race bike where it's just nothing but race words and decals all over it. I want it to be minimalistic. I wanted to stick with that M theme. Now this bike came with a full system titanium Vandemon exhaust. So I thought all I'll do is I'll get it polished up and get it fixed, and that's what we'll go with because I've got to be honest with you, it sounds bloody good. Let's listen to it. I don't know if you can hear that, but it sounds like it's really lumpy, almost like it's had cams done or something, but it just has that real race bike feel to it. So definitely a good choice to keep that Vandemon on there. As you can see, we got rid of most of the scratches on the actual pipe itself. And I think if I was to improve it ever so slightly, I might just put a protector around here, one of those RNG wraparound protectors. The rest of the pipe looks awesome. I don't know if you can see in there, but the whole pipe has gone bluey purple. So the headers and everything just look absolutely smoking shed hot. You know, before I move on, another design piece I went for with that M package is I actually handmade all of these decals myself. Yes, I know it's a bit budget, but they actually come up really good. I managed to get all the right blues for M Performance. So we went with the Louis Moto seat cover as well. A nice tank pad, and that flows into the red here. So everything flows the way it should in terms of light blue, dark blue, red. Same with the chain adjusters, same with the rear sets. It all just makes sense. So there's actually a lot more carbon on this bike than I even noted, and like the list would be too long to tell you the whole thing, but I think all up is about 23 pieces of carbon on it. So what else? Something I really, really enjoy about this bike is the simple nature of the cockpit. Everything is just nice and black, except from the M&M buttons from the Jet Prime switchgear. I went with that integrated look over here because it just simplifies the whole right side throttle area. The screen on these are absolutely huge, so you don't have to do much to make this part of the bike look amazing. I think in terms of performance, and I'll tell you the performance numbers in a minute, for power, but I think in terms of braking stability and like overall lap times, if I was gonna do anything different to this build, I would probably upgrade the suspension. Now, a lot of people have told me that the stock suspension on these is pretty awesome already, and it's probably gonna match, if not outdo, most track day junkies. But I think for saleability, if we did sell this bike, I think it would sell a lot better if it had some upgraded, like a nice, maybe a Bituvo rear shock in there or a K-Tech, and the same on the front. So do away with the existing, I think these are Sachs, probably do away with them and put something else in there that's a bit more high standard. Maybe YSS, I'm really not sure. But that's probably the only thing performance-wise I would do, because when it comes to power on this baby, we dynoed it. We did a full tune on this bike and we got 210.13 horsepower at the wheel. That is massive. I know there'll be some doubters out there. Look, dynos are all different. They're all calibrated slightly differently, but we used a DynoJet dyno. It's a regulated dyno. You can't argue with those numbers. That is just absolutely awesome. As part of picking the original road fairing, because like this is plastic, that's plastic, everything else is carbon, I had to do something about the headlights. And there's a company called Alif Performance, A-L-I-F Performance, and they make these. I don't know if you can see that from there, but that is a carbon insert headlight replacement. So it's a bit like a headlight delete, and that fits in place perfectly. It's not cheap, but it looks absolutely amazing. So if you're ever building an S1000Rr, check them out, Alif Performance. I'm pretty sure it's .com. I'll put a link here or in the description as to where I got all the parts from this bike as well. So that you guys, if you're looking to build an S1000Rr, you can access that list and find some bargains for yourself. Now, we mentioned brakes earlier, but I didn't go into detail. So I've left the original discs on, although I did get brand new ones. So these are brand new OEM discs. And what I've done is I've replaced the pads with some Brembo race pads. They're not Z04s, they're the next one down. But these have got some awesome stopping power. Now, there's a massive amount of change I made to the whole braking system on this bike. And if you have a look closely, you'll see that I've got an Alpha Racing braided brake line here at the front, because on the rear, we did the exact same thing. We've got it going direct. So we've done an Alpha Racing ABS delete on this bike. So just under the seat there's a little computer module. It's an Alpha Racing delete module. You simply plug it in. It bypasses the full ABS system on the bike, and that way, hard braking into corners, no ABS override, much smoother track work. You're gonna get better at your riding. The other thing we've done is we got rid of the original M lever, because it was just no good, and we replaced it with a really nice Rizoma lever that Motor Garage happened to have just lying around. Yeah, I know there'll be some people saying, if you're gonna go to the extent of doing an ABS delete, which is not cheap, especially when you pick a top brand ABS delete kit, why wouldn't you do the suspension? And it goes back to what I said before. I doubt most, okay, this could be controversial. I think most people probably ride within the limits of the existing stock suspension. You would have to be a pretty good rider, like in the fast group, really, fast group, top of the fast group, to really outride that suspension, especially if you've had it tuned. So look, I'm open to comments, I'm open to suggestion. I have done full suspension kits on my bikes before. Whether or not they warranted it, I don't know. But from what I'm told, these stock ones on this bike are actually pretty good. Some of the less notable mods, we've done the Litec chain adjusters here. These are really cool, they're super easy to use as well. So we just put them on, we got them secondhand brand new off a friend of mine that was building one of these bikes as well. So they're on there, so they're really cool. It's got the M rear sets. These are super adjustable and so easy to adjust. Simple undo that there, move up, down, forward, back, and you've got your adjustable footrest really easy. So because that space there is so narrow, I'm gonna have to have a play with these before we get this bike on track next week, actually Sunday. So I'll put a video up next week of a track test of this baby. Some other little things we've done is we've done the bar ends, so you've got protection when you're on track. We've done the quick release tank grip. We've done the seat cover from Louis Moto, so that's actually quite grippy. We've done the Easy Grip tank pads on this side as well. We've done the full GB Racing kit on this bike. So every piece of this engine is protected. So a lot of protection on this engine. I ran you through the switchgear earlier. We've rebuilt and temperature proofed this entire lower belly pan. So it's had a fair bit of ancillary work, and there's also some things under the fairing that you can't see. So it's had an evap delete, it's had AIS delete, it's had a stand delete, it's had O2 sensor deletes, it's had a lot of deletes. So all up, we've also shaved a little bit of weight off this bike. Not a huge amount, but considering it's carbon, this bike actually doesn't weigh a great deal anyway, so it's a pretty lightweight bike. Okay, so that brings me to my final point, and that's cost. What did this bike cost me to build? And you're probably gonna have a heart attack when I tell you what I actually paid for it in the first place. I paid $12,000 for this bike because of the amount of carbon that came with it. I thought to myself, you know what? I worked it out, I did a spreadsheet. Roughly, I think $15,000 worth of carbon, maybe more, was on this bike. And I thought, at worst case scenario, even if I don't rebuild the bike, I could strip the carbon off, sell the carbon, and that would pay for pretty much the bike itself. I could just replace that with a race fairing. But then I thought, no, I'll keep it. So $12,000 is the base price that I paid for this bike. Now, how much did I put into parts? Because it needed quite a lot. So the OEM parts alone, $6,000. I had to replace the radiator twice because I stuffed up the first one by drilling through it, my mistake. A lot of small things that you can't see. I had to get the frame fixed, a fair bit. So that takes us to $18,000. And then there was all the performance parts. Yeah, you're gonna be cringing when I tell you this, an extra $5,000. So we're actually at close to $23,000 is the total build on this. Now, I know what you're saying, it's a write-off, it can't go back on the road, and that's a lot of money. Yes, I'll probably lose a little bit when I go to sell it, but come on, just have a look at it. It is a dead sexy bike. So whoever the next owner is of this, I doubt they're gonna give two shits as to what it cost me to build it. But at least I know I've put some good quality gear into it. So there you have it. In my opinion, probably the sexiest BMW S1000Rr that I've seen. There's some nice ones out there, don't get me wrong, but this one just has it all. It's got the subtleness, it's got the sexiness, it's got the performance, it's got all the carbon, and it's got a pretty nice style to it. I think it's minimalistic, yet sporty. And yeah, bring on the next one. If you want me to do more of these walk around videos of the bikes that I build, then hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification as well, so you get a reminder every time I drop a new video. Let's start this baby up one last time.